Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in the classes on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service unto the unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas. Thank you so much for joining. We are reading Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, entitled Ideal Family Life. So yesterday we were talking about deity worship, that what is the right way to worship deities. One must offer respect to the deities, but at no cost one must ignore the devotees, because Krishna will not be happy. One who ignores the devotees and just is busy worshipping the deities is said to be a neophyte, and that will not please Krishna, because Krishna is here saying that Tasmad Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. Worship of the devotees of the Lord is even higher than the worship of Lord Vishnu. So with that, let's move on to the next verse, the last two verses of this chapter, text number 41. Purusheshva api Rajendra supatram brahmanam viduhu tapasa vidyaya tushtya dhatte vedam haritstanum. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear King, of all persons, a qualified Brahmana must be accepted as the best within this material world, because such a Brahmana, by practicing austerity, Vedic studies, and satisfaction, becomes the counterpart body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. From the Vedas, we learn that the personality of Godhead is the Supreme Person. Every living entity is an individual person, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, is the Supreme Person. A Brahmana who is well versed in Vedic knowledge and fully conversant with transcendental matters becomes a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore one should worship such a Brahmana or Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is superior to a Brahmana because whereas a Brahmana knows that he is not Brahman, not matter, a Vaishnava knows that he is not only Brahman, but also as an eternal servant of the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, worship of a Vaishnava is superior to the worship of the deity in the temple. Vishnavanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Sakshad Dharitvena Samasta Shastrai. In all the scriptures, the spiritual master, who is the best of the Brahmanas, the best of the Vaishnavas, is considered to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This does not mean, however, that the Vaishnava thinks himself God, for this is blasphemous. Although a Brahmana or Vaishnava is worshipped as being as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such a devotee always remains a faithful servant of the Lord and never tries to enjoy the prestige that may accrue to him from being the Supreme Lord's representative. Very important verse. That's the second last verse of chapter 14. So Narad Muni is speaking to Maharaj Yudhishthir that a qualified Brahmana uh, is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because by practicing the process of bhakti, one understands the mood uh, and the mood of the scriptures, what the Lord wants his devotees to do, what his children to do. Therefore, he is just assisting the mission of the Lord. And in the Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's Guru Vashtakam, which we sing every day in the morning, the 8 prayers to the spiritual master, which is basically ISKCON's Mangalarti, which is sung in the temple at 4:30 or 5 a.m. Most temples are at 4:30. So Sakshad means in all Sakshad Dharitvena Samasta Shastri. The conclusion of all the scriptures, that the spiritual master is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we discussed again and again, Guru is like the walking and talking Krishna. I always like this statement and repeat it multiple times. But what does the Guru think? Or the Vaishnava thinks? They may get sometimes respect, sometimes some name, fame, recognition may come. Not because that Vaishnava thinks that, oh, I am great. No. The Vaishnava thinks, oh, I am fool. But look at the beauty of the Supreme Lord. I am like a donkey, but what is standing on my head is they're bowing down to the Supreme Lord, to the holy name which I am carrying, not to me. So the Vaishnava always is humble and does not want to accrue any prestige, name, fame, etc. So if the consciousness is, oh, I am great, this respect is for me, this is for me, everything is for me, and does not pass it on to the spiritual master, to the Guru Parampara, then that's the recipe for fall down. So the idea is, again, Prabhupada is repeating that Vaishnava is that state is very, very high, a self-realized soul, and one must give proper respect. That will please Krishna, that will please everyone. And on our side, as a lesson, for sometimes we may get some respect. Hey Prabhuji, you give wonderful class. Someone will say, hey Mataji, you cook amazing prasad. I've never tasted such prasad in my life. Or you do amazing kirtan, or you do amazing book distribution, or you have amazing programs. So they are not respecting, we should not consider they're respecting myself. No, that respect is ultimately to the Guru Parampara, to all the teachers, because whatever we are is a blessing of all of them. So that's the idea. That's a very safe situation. Any comments, questions anyone has on this topic?
Yeah, I have a question. So in the middle of the purport talks about a Brahman being a Brahman, but not material, and then about Vaishnava being a Brahman, but also being a devotee of the Lord. So I guess is it saying that a Brahman is a more like a general and not specific, as opposed to a Vaishnava who has connection to the Lord in a way.
In this case, the Brahma Janiti iti Brahmana. So Brahmana, the Brahman aspect, we know that the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. So knowing that, yes, I am not that is a Brahmana, but that person may or may not be a follower of the bhakti marg or the bhakti process. So certainly Vaishnava is higher, absolutely, uh, because Vaishnava is one who's following the process of bhakti yoga, and and taking full shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So therefore it is said high. And then the famous pastime how Bhaktivinoda Thakur's son, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, there was a big debate and all the Brahmanas had gathered, and then they were saying the Brahmanas are this and that and great, I mean, and all glories. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur went there, and first day one he glorified the Brahmanas, and they all were, wow, oh, he's on our side, what's the point of debating? And then he glorified the qualities of Vaishnava, that how Vaishnava is even superior to the Brahmana. So yes, absolutely, Vaishnava is higher, and yes, Brahmana, if one is following that right process uh, and following the Bhakti Yoga, that's nice. The so-called Brahmana, just by thread Brahmana, just by birth Brahmanas is not what is recommended, or one does not become Brahmana just by wearing a thread, as our Grace Narayani Mataji was mentioning when she used to live in Goa and get her moped repaired. Oh, the Brahmana who named Chaturvedi or Divevedi or Pandey would come and they'll say, "Hey, I am a Brahmana. Look at my thread," and he would be fully covered with grease. So she was giving that example. The idea is with Guna and Karma, and Vaishnava is higher. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Since today's, I see Nandini Mataji has hand raised. Is it okay, Mataji? Bhaswati Mataji's birthday today. Is it okay if she reads?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay. Today is Bhaswati Mataji's birthday, so happy Krishna conscious birthday to you, Mataji, and thank you for your kind association and coming regularly on the Bhagavatam call. So please read the next verse 41.
Guruji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna devotees. Text 42. Nanvashya Brahmana Rajan Krishnasya Jagat Atmanaha Punantaha Padarajasha Trilokim Daivatam Mahata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. My dear King Yudhishthira, the Brahmanas, especially those who engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord throughout the entire world, are recognized and worshipped by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the heart and soul of all creation. The Brahmanas, by their preaching, sanctify the three worlds with the dust of their lotus feet, and thus they are worshipable even for Krishna. Purport. As admitted by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 18.69, Na cha tasman manusyeshu kaschin me priya krittamaha. The Brahmanas preach the cult of Krishna consciousness all around the world, and therefore, although they worship Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord also recognizes them as worshipable. The relationship is reciprocal. The Brahmanas want to worship Krishna, and similarly, Krishna wants to worship the Brahmanas. In conclusion, therefore, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who are engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord must be worshipped by religionists, philosophers, and people in general. At the Rajsuya Yogya of Maharaja Yudhishthir, many hundreds and thousands of Brahmanas were present, yet Krishna was selected to be worshipped first. Therefore, Krishna is always the Supreme Person, but his causeless mercy, he recognizes the Brahmanas as dearmost to him. Thus, in the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 7th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagvatam, entitled Ideal Family Life. So here Narada Muni is explaining to King Yudhishthira about the qualities of the Brahmanas and why they are superior. And in the previous verse, we already know that Vaishnavas are the um, best devotees of Lord Krishna, and then Brahmanas. And Krishna is the supreme Brahmana. And in the Nectar of Devotion, um, I read about a Brahmana um, who were very poor, but the Brahmana once, like he on his meditation, he put his finger, like he has a desire to give sweet rice to Lord Krishna, but he was very poor, so that's why he put his finger, like he on his meditation is thinking like he's putting his finger in the hot sweet rice and it burned. So he was so much absorbed in the on the meditation of Lord Krishna. So Krishna was so pleased, and he sent his Rath to take him back to Vaikuntha. That's where, like, here the word relationship is reciprocal. So Krishna also loves his devotees, his Vaishnavas, his Brahmanas. Um, so back to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saraswati Mataji. So here the formula to be dear to the Lord is shared. And Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 68 and 69. Why are the Brahmanas dear? Someone may ask, well, why are the Brahmanas dear? Or why are the devotees dear to the Lord? Because they especially are engaged in the preaching the glories of the Lord throughout the universe. That is because they are taking the burden of the Supreme Lord. Well, can the Lord not do it? Of course, He can do it. But the Lord is happy to give the credit to His devotees. Could Lord Chaitanya not come to the Western countries and distribute the holy name? Certainly He could. But He wanted to give the credit to His General, Srila Prabhupada, and to all of us who can be little instruments in the mission of Lord Chaitanya. So the idea is that those who are, and in Bhagavad Gita 68 and 69 exactly share the same thing, chapter 18, that those who are sharing this message with others are very, very dear. There was never a person more dear, there is never a person more dear, and there will not be a person more dear to me, the Lord is saying, than one who is engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord to others. So the Lord is personally respecting them. They're saying that they sanctify. Tirtham kurvanti tirthani. We discussed that piece also, that the pure devotees of the Lord, they purify the holy places wherever they go. And they are worshipable even by the Lord. So the Lord likes to worship his devotees, and the devotees like to worship the Lord. That's a reciprocal relationship. Very sweet word, reciprocal relationship. So we must not ignore the devotees, we must not ignore the Lord. Because if we ignore the Lord, then devotees will not be happy. And if we ignore the Lord, ignore the devotees, then the Lord will not be happy. So in short, we must please Krishna and please the devotees, try our best. Then the Lord will be happy, devotees will be happy. Devotees will be happy, Lord will. So it's a reciprocal relation. Any comments, questions anyone has? Okay, so we'll do a quick summary of this chapter. This is entitled The Ideal Family Life. Canto 7, chapter 14 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It has 42 verses, which we just completed. In the previous chapters, we were discussing about the Varnas and the Ashramas. In the last chapter, in particular, we discussed more about the Sannyasa Ashrama or Avaduta. We discussed some gurus. We had a quiz also. So this chapter is more about Grihastha life, which is more applicable to pretty much majority of the population, because most of the people are in household life, and that's where the biggest tenure of one's life goes. In ideally it was 25, 25, 25, but things don't go ideal in Kali Yuga especially. So keeping the facts, the biggest tenure of one's life goes in the, let's say, from 25 to at least 50, 60, 70, and a lot. But that's the biggest phase. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking Narad Muni, please tell about the process of liberation for Grihasthas. And then the Narad Muni basically speaks what are the duties in the Grihastha ashram. The first one, he mentions dedication to Krishna in text number 2, that householders must earn their livelihood and they should offer the result to Krishna, at least a portion, as we discussed and Narayani Mataji mentioned, some portion. And it could vary based on one's Desh Kala Patra, but we should try to at least continually improve on that. Hearing about Krishna, very, very important. Shravanam, we discussed a lot about Shravanam. That's Prabhupada's favorite topic, and therefore Prabhupada gives a very detailed purport. Developing detachment. I was hearing a small summary lecture by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. He said the difference between the sannyasis and the householders is sannyasis are in the renounced order and the grihasthas should be in the renounced spirit. So developing detachment does not mean to get rid of husband, wife, children, etc., and go to some holy or some forest. So the idea is to not be too attached, at the same time not compromising on one's dutiful endeavor and duties towards one family. But the spirit of detachment is what is explained. And then one should not be very extravagant. One should be neutral, simple living, high thinking, and then understanding the resources like the rain, etc., the sky, and also Lord's energy. So one must not misuse them for one's personal greed and avoid the greed, because there is enough for everyone's need, but not enough for one man's greed. So if we are greedy and not offering to Krishna, that's basically thief. And equal vision is Pandita Samadarshina, to not unnecessarily kill others, whether they're other living beings, etc. And ideally, the Grihastha should ask if anyone is hungry, feed them first, and then take prasad. And don't hanker for the Vegas, Vacho Vegam, Manaso Vegam, etc. Maintaining others, even if the person, basically again the idea of whether there are other living entities, there are other people who may not be that kind of in a situation not as blessed as we are. So we must try to share Krishna Prasadam, Krishna consciousness based on the situations. Prasadam, like ISKCON, is distributing thousands and millions of prasadam every day across the globe. And even in the COVID times, it is being going on because a lot of people, especially in India, like daily wage laborers, they're unemployed, they don't have enough, food, etc. So ISKCON is doing really great in that aspect as well. And detachment from wife, because is mentioned in text number 12. By deliberation, we discuss on this word deliberation, by trying to understand what life really is, who are my true well-wishers, and what is this I'm attached to, this artificial beauty, this artificial lump of skin, is that what I'm attached to? We discuss the story of liquid beauty as well. And one should worship all in the sense that understanding that others are also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, whether they are other living beings, whether they are demigods. One should not ignore them. One should not be disrespectful or say harsh words or be immature, because again we discussed today that Krishna will not like it. They are devotees of the Lord. They are handling various positions on behalf of the Lord. So the Lord will not be happy if we disrespect them. And then text 17 and 18 talk about that when Krishna eats the mouth of Brahmanas. So there is all the processes, and we discuss the story in great detail that how even His Grace Bhadra Prabhu explained the story, that when the Brahmanas were doing yagyas, etc., they ignored the Lord. But the essence of all yagyas is to please Krishna. Krishna, in short, Whenever we do something for Krishna, it's not that we lose something. There are multiple stories in this regard. In fact, one gets much, 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 much more. The lady who gave the fruits to Krishna, her fruit basket was filled with pearls and diamonds and jewels. And then later she got pure love of Godhead. Most of you may have heard that lecture. And one should perform sacrifices also, not the animal sacrifice. What is the sacrifice in Kali Yuga? Yagyai Sankirtana Prayir Vijantihi Sumedasa. Sankirtana Yagya. That is a sacrifice. Yagyanam Japa Yagyasmi. That's the main sacrifice for this day and age, with which we can kill the animal within. So it's a very nice like analogy given. Like using the ladle, we put the ghee in the Havan Kunda. So with the ladle of the tongue, with the what is the ghee, the holy name, when it enters in the kunda of our heart through the medium of the ears, what happens? Purifications happen. Animalistic propensity is killed. That's what we have to kill, the demonic propensity. And what's the litmus test? The yajna has been done successfully. The animal will get a human body. So our animalistic propensities are killed and we behave with divine qualities. That's a litmus test that we are chanting nicely, we are progressing in devotional path. Text number 19 to 33 talk about different time, place, situation, etc. for performing religious activities. There are certain auspicious times, there are certain non-auspicious times, and most of you may be aware, like, marriages are done at certain times and not done at certain times. So again, Garbdan Sanskar done at certain times and not done at certain times, certain dates, etc. But we also discuss for the path of bhakti, we don't need to look at an auspicious time. The bhakti makes everything auspicious. We discuss example of Lord Ram, we discuss example of Lord Chaitanya's birth, and also we discuss example of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. There is no inauspicious time to read Bhagavatam. There is no inauspicious place to chant holy name. The story of Gopal Guru, he said, even while passing stool, one can chant the names of the Lord. There is no inauspicious place. So that's the difference between religious or pious activities and karma kanda and bhakti or devotional activities. And then the last few verses, we discuss also that there are holy places, etc. But apavitram pavitro va sarvavastam gato piva yasmaret pundarika aksham sa bhayan antara shruchi. Even though we may be in a very impure state, we will chant this mantra, that basically remembering Yasmaret pundarik aksham, the lotus-eyed Lord. One remembers that everything internally and outside is purified. This mantra is chanted in all the processes. And then we discuss about the holy rivers as well. Gange cha Yamune cha Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Dilasmin Sannidhim Kuru. Who all remember this verse? Who all tried to memorize that? Gange cha Yamune chaiva. Very nice. Some devotees have. It's a very nice and simple verse, basically invoking the 7 rivers. You can cook the atta and knead the dough with this special Ganga Jal. You can remember Om Pavitram Pavitra. You can chant this mantra at the beginning of any process, whether cooking or chanting or anything, doing arti, doing Bhagavatam. These are all nice invocation mantras for purification. Then, who is the right Patra? Desha, Kala, and what about the Patra? That's the Supreme Lord. There is no one better. The example of the Rajasuya Yajna is discussed. He is the right recipient, and everyone, and not just Narad Muni speaking. There's all the scriptures, all the holy scriptures come to this conclusion. Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Kumara, Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, everyone comes to the same conclusion that Lord Kṛṣṇa is the rightful recipient. Bhoktaram Yajna-tapasam Sarvalokam Ishwaram. If we offer worship to him, we'll be happy. If we ignore Kṛṣṇa, we won't be happy. Then we discussed about deity worship yesterday in great detail. That yes, deity worship is important, one of the 5 important limbs. Yet at the same time, one should not compromise on worshipping the Vaishnavas or giving respect to the Vaishnavas. And last but not the least, Krishna himself glorifies the Brahmanas, and that will please Krishna. Then we talk about the reciprocal relationship. So this is a quick summary of this chapter 14. Any thoughts or questions? What I was thinking now, I will break the class or the setting into smaller groups, and the task is in smaller groups you discuss what are the main duties for grihasthas. Okay, so now a magic will happen and you'll be broken into smaller groups. So a group of 18 people will be broken into about 4 groups of 4 to 5 members each. So what we have to discuss, come up with some main points. What are the main duties for grihasthas to follow? Everyone okay? Any questions? Everyone good? So make sure everyone is participating in your group, write some key points, and you will have approximately 4 to 5 minutes, and then you will be back to the main group. Okay, so chant the magic mantra and then you will be going into different rooms. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You didn't join, Sudhir Prabhu, in the last room?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
So fortunate to be in your group, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.